Welcome back to Kdramas Decoded, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode of your favorite K-drama. Episode 6 picks up with the characters in an increasingly dangerous situation. After what happened previously, they are desperately trying to figure out what to do with the phone and wallet connected to the incident. They consider getting rid of them, but quickly realize that simply destroying or abandoning the phone could create even more problems. If someone finds it and manages to turn it on, it could potentially reveal information about their whereabouts. Their conversation makes it clear that they are terrified of being discovered. Meanwhile, the consequences of the family conflict are becoming impossible to hide. Minseo is worried that her parents are fighting because of her, but she is reassured that none of this is her fault. However, she later breaks down when she learns that her mother has left the house. She calls her friend Minseo and admits that she has no idea what to do. The episode then shifts into a surprisingly humorous sequence involving Park Djang's newly installed kitchen. What looks like a normal promotional shoot is actually an advertisement being filmed for the luxurious kitchen, complete with customized colors, dimensions, and a stylish design. The lighthearted scene provides a brief break from the much darker storyline unfolding elsewhere. That piece doesn't last long. Minseo's father is confronted over the situation involving his daughter, with accusations of child abuse and neglect being thrown around. He insists that the allegations were fabricated, but the confrontation quickly escalates when Choi Sang-cheol's name is brought up. It becomes obvious that the lawyer is becoming increasingly involved in everyone's lives. At the same time, the adults are trying to protect Minseo from the fallout. Her mother returns to comfort her, telling her that everything will eventually be okay. But behind closed doors, the adults are beginning to realize that something much bigger may be happening. A major clue appears when someone gives Yi-hong an expensive and difficult-to-find pair of shoes. At first, it seems like nothing more than an unusual gift. But the explanation for why the shoes were given immediately raises suspicion. The person who gave them claims that they had received the shoes years earlier and had no use for them, so they decided to pass them on. However, the situation becomes much more suspicious when the characters investigate Choi Sang-cheol. They discover that Choi is not an ordinary lawyer. He has represented people connected to major criminal cases and is described as someone who will use intimidation, manipulation, and even forgery when there is money involved. More importantly, one of his previous cases involved a murder suspect who somehow escaped conviction despite seemingly overwhelming evidence. That makes the group suspect that Choi Sang-cheol may not be working alone. They begin looking into the murder suspect, Go Do-sik, because they believe he could be the person operating behind Choi. Their theory is that Choi has powerful connections and that Go Do-sik may owe him enough to remain completely loyal. The group decides they need to find Go Do-sik and question him. But before they can get answers, another important clue emerges. Yi-hong starts wondering whether something was put into his drink when he met the mysterious man. His memory of the night is extremely unclear, and the more he thinks about it, the more suspicious the situation becomes. Then he remembers the shoes. He calls the man who supposedly gave them to him and asks whether the story about the shoes is really true. The man's reaction immediately makes Yi-hong suspicious. Before he can get a proper explanation, he angrily hangs up. This suggests that the shoes may have been deliberately planted or given to him for a reason. Meanwhile, the relationship between Minseo and her boyfriend is falling apart under the pressure of everything happening around them. Minseo is frustrated because she feels that he isn't doing enough to make the threatening video disappear. She explains that she has been lying to her parents and protecting him, while he seems strangely calm about the situation. She is terrified that the stress will eventually destroy her family. Her boyfriend apologizes, but Minseo's anxiety doesn't disappear. She wants him to understand how serious the situation has become and why she needs him to act. Elsewhere, Kyung-hai is dealing with her own crisis. She learns that her position at the company could be taken away as part of an investment deal. The investors are apparently demanding that another director take over her position, and Kyung-hai immediately confronts the chairman. She makes it clear that she will not quietly accept being pushed aside. Kyung-hae threatens to remove her name, face, and family from the company's brand if the deal goes through. She knows exactly how much value her image brings to the business, and she uses that as leverage. But the chairman fires back with an even more damaging accusation. He brings up the allegations that Kyung-hae embezzled money from her own company. Suddenly, the threat to her position becomes much more serious. After the confrontation, Kyung-hae is visibly struggling. Someone tries to comfort her, telling her that she doesn't always have to pretend everything is fine and that it is okay to admit when she is hurting. For a moment, her composure finally breaks. At the same time, the investigation into Choi Sang-cheol continues. The characters realize that the lawyer's actions may be connected to several different people and incidents, suggesting that there is a much larger plan unfolding behind the scenes. Then comes another disturbing development. A man who appears to be connected to the group starts behaving strangely. He becomes unwell and appears to be struggling physically, while the people around him assume that he simply needs a moment to recover. But the episode ends on a major cliffhanger. After everything that has happened, the suspicious shoes, the missing memories, Choi Sang-cheol's involvement, the mysterious people surrounding him, and the possibility that someone deliberately drugged Yi-hong, it becomes increasingly clear that none of these events are coincidences. Someone is manipulating the situation from behind the scenes. And just when it looks like the characters might finally be getting close to the truth, the episode cuts off with another unexpected arrival, leaving the biggest question of all hanging in the air. Who is really behind Choi Sang-cheol, and what exactly are they trying to do to Yi-hong and the people around him? Episode 6 therefore takes the story from a messy affair and family drama into something much more dangerous. What began as secrets between a few people is now turning into a complicated web involving lawyers, blackmail, suspicious gifts, possible drugging, corporate power struggles, and hidden criminal connections. And with so many characters keeping secrets, it is becoming harder to tell who is actually being manipulated and who is doing the manipulating.